All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Rise Urban Nation. It's your host, Taryell Simmons, in the building, and we got another lovely guest. I can't wait for you to meet this brother. He's a CEO, he's a founder, he's a connector, and a motivator. That's a lot. We're gonna break that down. We're gonna get into his journey here in a little bit. But Ivan, welcome to the show, my brother. How are you doing today?
Fantastic, Terrell. How about yourself?
Not too bad. So I see you in the land of palm trees and action around you. Where you joining us from today?
I am hearing from Vegas,
Yeah.
Las
So
Vegas.
so me and Ivan got to chop it up just a little bit before we got started, and he was telling me there's a lot of shakers and moving Black entrepreneurs in Vegas doing their thing, and I can't wait to hear a little bit about that as well. But before we get into all that, there's a question I always like to start off the show with, and it is, who are you? And I know that's a deep question. You go as far as wide as you want, but for the people who may not have been had the pleasure of getting to know Ivan and been introduced to you and the amazing things you do, who is Ivan?
Uh, well, I'm actually originally from New York, born and raised, and I'm just a 24-year-old who just has a ambition, the drive to just wanting to change the world, just like every other beautiful Black person out here in America, and in the world. So,
Mm.
you know, I just I am a Jamaican and Cuban.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Yep.
Me
And
know a little something about this spice bun and cheese, some curry goat, some jerk chicken, some ackee and
oh
sawfish.
man, Aki is sawfish. Yeah.
What I know about that?
What you know about Aki and sawfish?
Oh man. So my good friend who used to live not too far from me, because I grew up born in New York, raised in DC. He grew up down the street, and so I used to go over his house. I used to get the best home cooked meal from his mother. So
Oh man, I that's the one thing here that I've been trying to find here in Vegas is a Jamaican restaurant, and it's hard. Actually, someone told me one. I forgot to I have to find it. I wrote it down somewhere, but I have to find it because there's not many Jamaican spots here. And I've been
yeah.
looking for my beef patty with cocoa bread. So I
Ooh,
can
ooh.
just enjoy. Mm,
Man, you're making me hungry already, and it's dinner time. So
it is dinner time. Now, me, I started my entrepreneur journey in my college, actually.
uh-huh.
Same college. I graduated from New York. It's called SUNY Purchase.
Uh-huh.
And my college, I originally, how it really got me into the entrepreneur journey was when I started reading this book, and this book was called Rich Dad Poor Dad. And let me
Mm,
tell you, this book changed my whole perspective of money and rich people.
mm,
Because here's the thing, it not only introduces you to a level of possibility with your life, but it also introduces you to a level of a foundation where you become not only your own boss, but you can make your own success story and not just be the rest.
yeah.
It begs you the question, like when you read this book, it asks you like questions each chapter, like what do you want to do? Who are you? What do you want to call yourself
Mm,
in this world? How do you want to make a foundation? How do you want to make money work for you? How
yeah.
do you want to retire? Instead of, doing the age old
Mhm.
thing that everybody's been doing, going to school, get a job. That's a secure job, work 40, 80 hours a week. And then guess what? You retire at the age of like 60, 70 and you have this retirement money, but you realize that, oh, I have like 10, 20 years left to live on this earth. I wish could have done this when I was young. So
Mhm.
now looking at this, it just kind of sparked like an entrepreneur mind in me. And then 2019, I had a friend. Now this is where the idea stemmed. So full disclosure, what business do I own? I own a tech startup called CutNet, and it's a
Mm-hmm.
mobile hair service where we send, well, let's just say that you can have have any barber service to you no matter the place. So it could be a
Mm.
house, it could be a hotel, office space. We're to say we bring the service to you. It's like that concierge feel, like to bring everything to you so that you feel catered. Because when I first came up with this idea, I was in college and I had a friend who went around campus cutting hair
Mm.
on the side just to get extra money. And I wanted to try him out because my barber is back in my old hometown called Poughkeepsie.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I'll try him. It's only what, $12? All right, cool. So he goes to my door and I asked him like, okay, what do I need? Like, do you need anything from me? He's like, no, just have a chair, sit down, relax. Let me do all the work. So
Nice.
he went to town, cut my hair professionally, and I was just thinking to myself, man, so this is what famous people feel. They have their own personal stylist or barber coming to them. And it's like, wow, it's like, okay. But what clicked in my mind was, how is it that actors, actresses, songwriters, any famous person in the walks of life with their own personal barber, but why can't the rest of us?
Mm.
Then what also clicked was how Uber came to be. And I love Uber.
Mm-hmm.
I have a love hate relationship with Uber sometimes, the way how it operates. But I decided to think, man, what if I just put Uber and hair, let's combine it, and that's where it just started.
Right.
And then I already had a business idea prior to that. It was a clothing line. I was gonna make a luxury clothing line, but I knew like clothing is very competitive, so I was like, all right, I like this idea better. I'm very invested in this, so
Uh-huh.
that's why I just started 2019, and then throughout the year, just brainstorming, just sitting in the library after I do my schoolwork and just plugging in, just putting
Right.
ideas and whatnot. Then the fall of 2019, my school hosted a Shark Tank competition,
Wow.
and I
Okay.
became a, and I became a finalist,
Nice.
but I didn't win. I didn't win. However, I had a I had a judge pull me aside,
Mm-hmm.
black lady, and she told me she loved the idea.
Mm-hmm.
Even though my pitch at the time, it was my first time pitching a business idea, so I was kind of nervous. But she told me, I don't see this ending nationally. I see it ending internationally. I see this
Mm.
around the world. So that gave me the drive. That one judge gave me the drive to just keep going. So, and then I learned that whoever becomes a finalist for that competition and don't win, of course, they get to enter the regional competition. So I represent my region in New York called the Hudson Valley region. And
Yeah.
then if whoever wins gets to go in the States.
Yeah.
So I became a finalist again for this time for my region. And this is like the start of the pandemic. And it was all Zoom. I didn't win. I get a lot of criticism about security, and people thought, oh, this is not going to happen. No one's going to use this, right? Then throughout the pandemic, I see articles, people complaining about not getting their hair done. And then they're
Mm-hmm.
all barbershops closed, barbershops losing money and
Mm-hmm.
had to shut down and stuff like that. And I saw one article where this company called Shortcut was
Yeah.
doing just exactly what I was thinking. And they were just going to people's houses and cutting hair because
Mm.
it's like we're in a pandemic, right? So there was ways around it. Now,
That-
I was happy that I wasn't the only one who thought about this. See, I was happy I have some level of competition because it just shows that like there's proof. There's
Yeah.
proof in the
Proof of
pot.
concept, right? That's a
Yeah, proof of
viable
concept.
product. Yeah.
Yeah. So something told me to just keep going, right? So now the person so during the regional competition I had a person, a mentor, to help me fix my pitch deck.
Yeah.
That mentor was the director of entrepreneurship and innovation in Westchester, the area that I went to school in. And in
Mm-hmm.
the fall of 2020, I decided to join their startup accelerator because they offered it to me, and ever since then, I not only graduated college 2021, same time I graduated the startup accelerator, same time, plugging away, spending nights just cooking in the kitchen, just trying to
Mm-hmm.
develop this idea, make it condensed, talking to barbers, talking to customers, how they feel about it, what would they do with it, stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that, breaking it all down. And I and then after I graduated the accelerator, I ended up having my first customer right then and there
Nice.
here in Las Vegas. See,
Nice.
why did I move here from New York to Las Vegas? Well, it was originally because I wanted to visit family because I have a brother here.
Mm-hmm.
But then I started to really love it because compared to New York's always gonna be there. But Vegas,
Yeah.
something about Vegas is like I have to stay here because something telling me I need to stay here.
Yeah.
And
It's a
then
different vibe.
it's a different vibe. And ever since then, I've been just plugging away, just research development, right?
Yeah.
And then 2022 was a little slow, but I had some haircuts here and there. But again, it's like all trial and error, research development, stuff like that, right? What works for doesn't really. And, I met a lot of great entrepreneurs here, black
Mm-hmm.
business owners, a lot of them. And on top of that, I would say here in Vegas, I say the startup scene, there's a lot of people who are like come in open arms. It's a
Mm-hmm.
great sense of community here. Like you're not going to be pushed away. Like if if you need someone to help you out, man, they know
That's
somebody.
beautiful.
Everybody knows someone.
Yeah.
Everybody knows someone. I got that love. Like me as a black person, like I didn't get that criticism. Like, oh no, you're like, oh, you need this person. Okay, I know this person. I know this person. Oh, go. I'll give you this contact. I was like, okay, okay, damn, all right,
That's
I'm with it.
beautiful.
Give me all the contacts. So I started joining the chambers of commerce here in
Mm-hmm.
Vegas. Let me tell you, I like to tell the audience, join a chamber of commerce.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be surprised how valuable the value they provide based on what you need, whether it be Toastmasters, practice your public speaking, whether it be just getting funding, whether it be office space help, whether it be just connecting you to other business owners to do a collab, stuff like that, or just getting funding for like just get bank loans and stuff like that because you don't know what you need until you find out. Oh, I get all these perks. This is awesome.
Yeah.
And I tell people your network is your net worth because you don't know who you'll meet. I met a
Mm-hmm.
lot of great people here, and this falls into this year, beginning this year. So I got an invitation to go to it was a private airport hangar
Mm-hmm.
during CES weekend, the whole tech weekend that happens every year. And I
Mm-hmm.
met a lot of great entrepreneurs, from the gaming industry to these guys who had a hologram box where you can like put yourself into a camera and put yourself in the box. It's like
Yeah.
holograms, like first stage of holograms. It was so
Yeah.
cool. And I met some good big money investors, and sure enough, I met a guy who was like, "Hey, I come from California. I'm just trying to familiarize the startup scene because startups here are getting big in Vegas." And I told him about my business, and he said he loved the concept, so he wanted to sit down with me and my co-founder. And then a month or two later, he was like, "You know what? I don't believe your business is worth 1 million. I think you guys need to ask when comes to investors, ask for 2.5." Because I found out this
Mm-hmm.
man it deals with startups in Silicon
Mm-hmm.
Valley, helps finance
Mm-hmm.
them and stuff like that. And I told him everything about what we're doing right now with CutNet,
Mm-hmm.
and he was like, "Listen, your model is much more valuable and profitable compared to Uber because Uber keeps losing money. See,
Mm-hmm.
they don't use skilled labor. We use skilled labor. They
Mm-hmm.
use unskilled labor, and there's a lot of risk with them compared to us. There's still some level of risk because we're bringing people to people's locations, wherever the place would be, to someone in your
Mm-hmm.
car.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's just, and then not only that, he became one of our advisors. And
Mm-hmm.
then July, fast forward to July. Now, we met this great guy who was a developer here in Vegas, and let's just say we call him the tech guru because he knows a lot of tech stuff here in Vegas, and he's been doing a lot of technology stuff. He does crypto, does web development, stuff like that. And when I came to him, it was just through a friend of friend. I actually do a lot of here in Vegas. You do a lot of speeches and stuff like that when it comes to promoting your business. And I was invited to promote my business and do a pitch at this place called Startup Vegas,
Mm-hmm.
where a lot of startups will pitch their business to the crowd and to actual investors, and they'll get feedback, stuff like that, and then ask, and they'll probably talk to you to see if like about investment, stuff like that. So a few articles on the business page about that. So this guy, his name's Joshua, he was able to help us develop our alpha app, and not only that, we're able to launch it last month. We had a launch party, we had 200 people, and yeah, it started to become bigger than it was last year. And I started officially launching the business 2020, and yeah, ever since then it's been up and up and up. And we've been connecting with a lot of people here, from executives, from casinos to even people from out of state. And we not only launched it here in Vegas, we launched it in two other cities, Los Angeles and Honolulu, Hawaii. And our
Oh
plans are
wow.
spread out. Our plans are
Uh,
spread out um, through the East Coast, sorry, the West Coast, all the way to the East Coast, and then
uh,
long term, international. So
wow.
we even speak to people who owns hair products, who wants to sell their hair products on our website. So we're in talks with that, and we're at talks with a few people who have connections to like big promotion events where they do events for like the big stars and stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm.
whenever the famous people come over, if they ask about getting their hair done, whatever, they run to us. So running to
Nice.
us. So we're in talks with a lot of that right now. It's a lot of talks behind the scenes, but everything's going the way it should. And we're working on, so in LA, we're working on getting a lot of hairstylists and barbers on board
Yeah.
because of the strikes that's been going on in Hollywood. So they're
Uh,
missing out with a lot of customers and the usual business people. And we got someone recently too on board who actually does own a mobile van, and his customers is like NFL players. He does
mhm.
NFL players. So our word is like slowly starting to spread much faster. And right now, the great thing about it is that I'm excited about the future. We have bigger plans for CutNet, and people always ask, so you say it's a tech company. What's a tech company? Well, there's a lot of things behind the scenes that I
Yeah.
don't want to mention, but let's just say it will be beneficial for a lot of barbers and stylists. And
Yeah.
people always ask me, so, but we have Booksy.
Mm-hmm.
Man, there's just so much stuff that Booksy does that hinders a lot of barbers and stylists. And they cater to
Mm-hmm.
many industries. That's cool, but like we're here just to focus on helping barbers and stylists succeed. So think about it
Mm-hmm.
this way: as a barber, like Uber, like say you're traveling to Miami, and
Mm-hmm.
say you want to make extra money. All right, I turn on my status, CutNet,
Mm-hmm.
boom, boom, boom. I get so many customers hitting me up. All right, cool, cool. Get customers, get some cuts here and there, and you're done for the day. And those people, those customers give a haircut. They're going out partying and stuff like that. They're looking their best. Now they add you to their favorites. So say
Mm-hmm.
they're traveling. Say you come back to Miami, they'll get that notification. Oh, he's back. Cool. So they repeat the process repeats. Or if not, there's people who like to stick with the same barber throughout the years. Like tell people, well, that's true, but you don't know what's gonna happen. Say they retire. Say they get sick. And plus,
Mm-hmm.
say you gotta go to a wedding. You gotta look your best, but like they all booked. You need to find someone. I let people know you need to find someone who just as good or better as a usual barber. Because I know
Mm-hmm.
stick with the same person for years. They know how to handle your hair. But what if someone
Yeah.
knows how to handle your hair just like your barber, or even better?
Yeah.
So we like to give people options and let them be aware of what you can do. The sky's the limit in the end of the day. So I'm just
Yeah.
excited about how things are moving. So I would say we're prepping for even next year with the Super Bowl, because I know the city's gonna be very packed. There's gonna be a lot of people that's gonna like we see Vegas in a different light because we got F1, we got
Hmm.
the big MSG sphere, the biggest sphere in the world that's gonna have house concerts and stuff like that. And on top of that, Super Bowl's next year, so there's gonna be a lot of foot traffic here in Vegas. And now I hear rumors that Disneyland is coming here in Vegas, and then
What?
yeah, we just yesterday there was a news that Disneyland is thinking about coming to Vegas because California ain't it. and on top of
Ah!
and on top of that, baseball's coming. They actually found a spot, and the NBA team is coming soon as well. So Vegas be about to be the new Miami.
Like, I don't know about California. Maybe you're talking about Florida because I know Disneyland having problems with Florida, but I think California is good. I'm hoping so.
Well, I just got the notification yesterday, so that
Uh,
everybody wants to move to Vegas. So
uh,
Vegas about to get really crowded. It's about to look like New
uh,
York City.
it
So
is.
yeah,
Listen, I love your whole story. It's so inspiring, and I think so many people are gonna be inspired by it. There was so much to unpack in there. Like I wanna go back a little bit because I got so many questions in my head from like how'd you find these resources, how did the chamber help you, and all that stuff. But the one thing, let's go back to the rich dad poor dad because I know you talked about that earlier on, and I know a lot of entrepreneurs talk about rich dad poor dad, and I've read it myself, and it's been a while since I read it, and but it's such a staple and it's such a different mindset from going to school. I don't know how it impacted you, but like I feel like rich dad poor dad is not the stuff they teach you in school because school teaches you to be a worker, and rich dad poor dad teaches you kind of to be a owner. And I remember one story in there that when the dad was talking to the kid, and he's like, well, how could you do this? Like instead of like I can't do this, the one dad that says I can't do this, and the other dad say, well, how could we do this? And then he comes to think about like the creative ways how you can do something and build that life on your terms.
yeah,
Right. So how was that process
right.
for you going from that process to one process? Because the school is teaching you to be a worker, but you're reading this book that's teaching you to be an owner.
So my mom, God bless her, my mom, she always tell me like, oh, rich people are greedy, stuff like that. You get to growing up, you get to it was pounding your head and stuff like that. Don't be greedy. Don't this and that. Help the poor and stuff like that. And I learned a lot. Those there's a lot of truth to it. But when I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, it was like a shell shock. It was like a culture shock. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
whoa! I've learned my parents that like, oh yeah, you gotta go to school, get a job, and what work extra hours till you just retire, and then you only have like 20 years left to live, and then you only got this money from Social Security, and it's like, so I should have done this when I was young. So
Mm-hmm.
you know, and even then, even when I was reading it too, I would bring it to even my economics classes. And I remember this one time, my teacher would come up to me and saw the book, and he was like, "Oh, you're reading this?" It's like, "Yeah." It's like, what have you learned so far? And it's like, well, just have money work for you and stuff like that. Because it was a brief comment, but let's just say that over the years, I started to see like what college really was worth. And then
Mm-hmm.
2020 hits, and you hear articles like, "Oh, Harvard's still going to charge students tuition, the same tuition that they're there in person before the pandemic." And I was like, "This is nuts."
Nah.
Zoom classes, and you're paying tuition 60K a year, and I'm paying that much just to be on the computer.
Nah. They
Like, think
they
about
they
that.
they read Rich Dad Poor Dad. They making the money work for them.
Exactly. So it's like I looked at that, and I looked at the classes I took, and the classes I took were, and I'm not gonna lie, they were valuable. However, I would say the most impactful. See, there's a difference between the valuable classes and the impactful classes.
Mm,
So the ones that were impactful were the ones that I took were the entrepreneurship classes. And that's what really propelled me to like, all right, let me start a business. I'll start something. I'll start an idea,
mhm,
whatever. And that's where it really shifted gears to. making me start my business. Because here's the thing: when I took my entrepreneur class, they'll bring new people every week from New York City. They'll bring corporate lawyers. They'll bring people
Mm.
from different like managers from big companies, and I was just like, wow.
Wow.
So this is how it works. Like, yeah, that's how real. I think that was a real class compared to other classes because when you bring those very like how I put it, professional people like that, I was like,
Yeah.
that's real. That's a real class because you don't. Not many schools teach that. Not many schools teach that. But my
Right.
school was able to do that because they want to try something new. So I was like, okay, this is definitely a real class. So
Right.
this entered the other book that the author of Rich Dad Poor Dad made was called Fake Money, Fake Teachers, Fake School. So
Mm.
when I read that book, that was like to me that was like part two
Yeah.
because it gave a broader perspective of like you have fake teachers. Now this is the valuable classes. You have the fake teachers that say, oh, this and this and this, you have to have this, right? And I read in the book that you gotta be wary about who is fake and who is real
Mm-hmm.
because if it's like saying if you're taking a business class and learn how to run a business, would you want to hear that from a business owner, not a
Mm.
teacher who went to school for business?
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather learn it from someone who ran a business and tell me the ins and outs than someone who just went to school just to learn about business but never ran a business. So
Yeah.
that's the sort of thing I went through. Now,
Yeah.
there's another thing I forgot to mention. So I went to an economics club, and my first year. Now, this is where I first networked ever. Went on my
Mm-hmm.
comfort zone and networked. So each semester they'll take us to New York City and go to these penthouses and just network with people. I was like, whoa,
Mm.
this is different. This is different from just being in school.
Yeah.
I got all dressed up, this network. They gave us champagne and stuff, school funded. I was like, oh, this is what I'm talking about, right? Now, the last one I went before the pandemic, I met an actual Shark Tank winner.
Witter.
And
Really.
yeah, yes, he owns a tequila brand called Yabe Tequila.
Uh-huh.
And I sat there and just listened to him explain how he went through it. And actually, it was Barbara, the shark, that I invested in him.
Mm-hmm.
And after we did a talk and we started networking, I went up to him and was like, "Hey, I have this idea." I just pitched him the business, and then he was like, "I like the idea, and I really like that." And this is, and he was like, "You should send me your business plan, and I can go over and see about like, I could be an investor." I was like, "What?" Right then and there. Oh,
That.
I was like, "Wow!" But I told him like I still have, this is like still in the early stages, way early
Uh-huh.
stages of CutNet. So I was like, I'll give it a try. I still stay connected with him, especially during the pandemic. And then during the pandemic, as I was here working, my brother, actually, my other brother from my father's side, he grew up with another person who was a Shark Tank winner from Atlanta,
Mm-hmm.
and he owned a company called Sparketh. It's a
Yeah.
nonprofit helping kids learn how to draw and stuff. And I got to sit down and have a Zoom meeting with him, and I
Nice.
asked him like, "So what was it like? Like what was it like and stuff like that?" And I asked him about how did you get into Shark Tank, and he told me the first year. This is crazy. The first year they go into like trade shows, stuff like that, just pitching their stuff, right? Then they get in the mail an offer to be on Shark Tank in the same year, and I was just
Mm.
like blown away. And they pitched it, and I think it was Barbara too, or the other girl
Mm-hmm.
who invested in them, and it was just wow. And I got to meet a Shark Tank winner, like this, who was on Shark Tank, who was
Yeah.
seen by millions. I was just like, wow. So I met
That's
two Shark Tank winners in my life. And it was like inspirational because you never know. Like that's why you never know who you'll meet in your life. That's just put out. It gives you so much inspiration. Now, to your other question
uh-huh.
of how did I get so connected to so many people here in Vegas, and I have to reiterate this. it starts with the chambers of commerce. Once I
Right.
started going to the chambers of commerce,
Uh-huh.
I already told them about my business, and they were like, I know this person, I know that person, be perfect to you, speak to this person, speak to that person. And I was like, okay, damn, you guys are quick. All on first day as I signed up. It was quick. And then, and I met people who are from BNI business. It's this international corporation where they do a lot of networking. And I met, and then, this is cool too. And I met people from the NFL alumni. Who I met people who are ex NFL players, and I had took
What?
pictures. They're on my Instagram. They're on my Instagram. I took pictures with ex NFL players, and I met a lot of big people, big players, and you know each state has their own NFL alumni organization because it's like a nonprofit organization, but they oversee some of the players, and let's just say that they're preparing for the Super Bowl because now this is all happening. So they're still in development with in talks with handling the Super Bowl. So,
Yeah.
I'm connected with them, and I was from the chamber, of course. Connected with a few people from the hotels, from real estate people, from um, event owners, stuff like that. So you'll be able to experience a lot of people real fast. And I just tell people, hey, I just own a mobile hair service. I own a tech startup. They're like, really? Something that is not real estate or something that when you're like someone different from the
Mm.
rest, it piques everybody's interest. Not trying to downplay people because when I hear everybody's business, I take everybody's cards.
Yeah.
Give me all your cards. Because you know why? Because I may come across someone who are like, hey, do you know anybody who does this? Do you know anybody who does that? And I like to give back as much as I can by handing their card and handing this card, because you get connected fast. That's why in my LinkedIn profile, I'm a connector. And I remember when I was in New York, when I was in my startup accelerator, I was also in a startup incubator, and
Mhm.
I was able to connect both of them together. They did some sort of partnership where they had the whole Hudson Valley region connected, where it's just entrepreneurship, development, help. So I got involved in connecting both CEOs together to do like a partnership. And if
That's
anybody's
awesome.
in like the Hudson Valley area or below, they're able to connect and get startups to help out. And they formed a new community, stuff like that. I was the one who kind of started that catalyst, and then everybody just did their thing. I was like, hey, I don't need anything from you guys. Just connect and go. Because
Yeah.
I know a lot of people in the future will benefit from this connection. And the same thing from here. I had a someone who just started out doing real estate DM me on Instagram, and they saw me through an app called Meetup, where it's like all networking and stuff like that. And she wanted to learn how to not only network because I just tell her, listen, I know so many people from tech, healthcare, real estate, from everybody here in Vegas, as I know. And she was like, "Wow, I want to learn." I was like, "Of course, I'll be happy to do that." So, when I love to give back as much as I can,
Yeah.
and
That
that's my dream to just give back to businesses because I know like a lot of people don't get enough attention, and as much as your product or service is beautiful, it's just that market, it's just that
yeah.
attraction. That's the hard part of the journey. It's always hard for me.
You know what I love about your story too? That your business is uniquely designed for you and your personality and your gifts. Like networking is an art, and you have truly mastered and have a gift at the art of networking. And you have this software app platform that's perfectly taking the core essence of you and of networking and putting it into this platform that networks people to hairstylists so we can get this unique experience to feel like celebrities for a day or maybe 2 days or maybe a week, depending on how often we get on this platform to get freshened up, right?
Exactly.
And so I love that. And then you, as much as you've networked and gotten resources, you give back too, so that's the win-win. I appreciate all of that in your story. I'm curious too, because like since the chambers got you networked with all these people, how did you find all these pitch competitions that you went to? Was that through the chambers too? How did you find all these things?
So it's through the chambers, but there was like people DMing me about like, oh, you should go pitch, you should go do this. I was like, sure, I'll give it a try, right? And I've been on a few articles here and there, through like a lot of business articles for startups and stuff like that. But and then there was the launch party I had last month
Hmm.
where I was letting people know my business, and there was like 200 plus people. They wanted to hear about CutNet, a mobile hair service. Like, oh, I get my hair done, stuff like that. And what's beautiful is that people always wondered, like, oh, it's like for men, it's for women, and I just like, no, it's for everyone. No, we just
Hey,
start. We're just shotgunning everything. So if you want twists, braids, color, we got it. Just go
hey.
get it. Yeah,
Now,
you don't like. That's how I started. I didn't want to start like people. Some people say like, oh, you should have started with this and move up. And yeah, there's a process to it. But the thing is, I saw other businesses like Booksy. They started some small whatever, but
nah,
over time, it started to. There's a point to a business where it gets oversaturated with so much stuff, and that's what
yeah.
Booksy is. And of course, what's comparable to me to Booksy is that yes, it's a booking platform, but the thing is though, Booksy has more marketing heads over me,
Mm,
but it's not gonna last forever because once
yeah,
people, because I'm in Vegas, word spreads fast in Vegas, and that's what I've learned in Vegas. Word spreads fast, no matter if you're
yeah,
in the west side, east side, north, south. Someone's gonna hear about you eventually, and it's
yeah,
probably within a week they're gonna hear about you, and then it's the words will spread fast.
yeah.
Because here's the thing, I get, I got attracted, so I got attracted to other people from other countries who heard about my business through LinkedIn, and
Oh
I have
wow.
yes, and two were from Dubai, and they're like one of them was a business owner, one was a marketer who helps like people utilize LinkedIn to get more clicks. And they
Uh-huh.
both said like this is perfect for Dubai because Dubai has a similar thing where like they have tailored suits where like they'll come into your house, they'll measure you, and then they'll come back with a suit the next day. So it's like
Mhm.
wow, this is like amazing. So
Wow.
that's why
You
that's
about
why
to
I
be
was just
international, buddy. You like
yeah.
uh,
And
uh,
then now
okay.
this is another tidbit. There's another tidbit I want to mention. So I of course I went to this network event actually 2 months ago,
Uh-huh.
and through the chamber of course, and I met this young lady. She is part of a organization called Vegas Meets Dubai,
Mhm.
and what that means is that there's an organization that wants to bring awareness from businesses from Dubai and Vegas and collab. But here's the thing:
Mhm.
all the Vegas businesses will be seen from Dubai, and all the Dubai businesses will be seen in Vegas. So they're trying to do a
Mm.
documentary where it's just about the business owners, some of them from both sides. And I was told that the royal family from Dubai is gonna come to the red carpet and check out the documentary, and I was scouted. I was scouted for it, and I had to sit down and talk about the business and stuff like that. And let me just say,
Wow.
let's just say it was beautiful because like I didn't think I'll like have an impression on these people to be like,
Uh-huh.
yeah, we want something like this in Dubai. And I was like, well, you gotta have to wait. There's a process I'm going through right now. Like, you gotta wait. So I'm getting attracted from people like Dubai, but I told them not this time because I have stuff going on here. But I asked them, will there be opportunities, stuff like this in the
Uh-huh.
future? And they said yes. They said they're gonna do Qatar meets Vegas, or Shanghai meets Vegas, stuff like that. So they're trying to bring the international scene up there. So it's like wow. So
Yeah.
still will make a worldwide recognition soon. So
Oh,
I still have the connection. Still, that's the beautiful thing. I still have the connection, and if people
yeah.
would want to have that international connection, that exposure,
Uh,
I have the connection. That's why I tell people like, listen, your network is your network. Don't know who you meet. So
like, Man, I love that. I love that. Man, you got a lot of great stories. I know people going to be inspired when they hear you. I imagine you as being a busy guy and having your hands in a lot of things and staying busy. How do you stay how do you stay grounded in all that?
Well, I take like, because this is still early stage, but I take like four almost 5 days a week,
Uh,
just like making sure the barbers and stylists are doing their thing and
mhm,
be able to go out there, go to network events and still pitch to people like, hey, you should try this app, you should try this business. And I go to barber shops and I tell them the same thing. And I tell business owners that like, hey, let's do a collaboration, get some like executive cuts, stuff like that. So there's a lot of people behind the scenes who are watching and
mhm.
seeing how content will grow. And guaranteed, it's gonna with everything that that has been happening this year. I have a strong sensibility that this is gonna blow up like towards the end of this year, beginning 2024, right where everything is opening from F1 to like everybody coming here for the Super Bowl. That's where the culture shock really begins.
Man, that's going to be an amazing thing to witness and see too. So, the next portion, as we start to wrap up, I got a couple more questions that I want to ask you before we wrap up and let you get back to your day here. Um, Often when I talk to young people, especially when they're graduating out of college, like they think soon as they graduate from this business degree program or entrepreneurship program that like they got the tools and all the resources and they should be able to hit success. They should get the good venture deal, get the 100 grand, and it should work like that. Because I did everything. I did the education and all that, and or I got my degree now. My first job, I should be having something lined up. I should be making 100K. And I often tell them, even your most successful people, they start from humble beginnings most of the time. You have to go through these maturations and these learning process. All that to say, what was your very first job ever?
My very first job ever, it was working at Sunglass Hut, selling sunglasses. Sales, starting into sales. I think sales, as to my 24 years living on this earth, sales, and they are all right. All the business owners who said it, sales
Uh-huh.
is important.
Uh-huh.
Sales is important. You get to learn people, get to learn different people's from different walks of life, and understand how they act. So I say selling is very important because you get to earn a skill, you get to put yourself out there. You're starting to
Mhm.
sell yourself, so you learn a lot. I mean, selling sunglasses, telling people, hey, like your face shape, will work for this pair. That's how it kind of like work its way to how I started my business. Because how it works for me is that, well, how it works with business is that we don't just pair you to any hair professional just because they're listed.
Mhm.
We pair you to hair professionals based on hair texture. So wherever if you have
That's
straight
important.
hair, curly hair, coarse hair, you get to be automatically connected to a barber stylist. So that's why I took a similar approach with that with the dating apps, and also how I worked on sunglass app. People, you only see like the face shape, but now you see the
Uh,
hair. Now it's like, okay, you got to pair that to this barber, pair that to that barber, because they'll be able to handle your hair moving forward. But otherwise, yeah,
I
that's
like that.
that's where I started.
Yeah. So from selling glasses at Sun Hut to successful business, look at like you see the range there, and I think you learned some good details that helped you out in business today. Now, somebody's gonna be inspired by this, and they're gonna say, you know what? I want to take the route that my man Ivan took to get into business. What's some advice you would give somebody who's just starting out? They just finished college. They're inspired by your episode. What I think I know what you're gonna say, but go ahead, give it to them.
Well, before my phone dies, I'll say this: persistence is key. I say you're gonna have a lot of haters, friends, family,
Mhm.
stuff like that. But a lot of people who is gonna be close to you, you're gonna have a lot of haters.
But,
But but there's a difference between just having a dream and having a God given dream. And
mm,
if a dream that you have is sticking with you like glue to this day, that's a God given dream, given from God.
but
It's not your dream; it's given.